Well, my friend, pull up that plastic chair, light this here oil lamp, and listen to this story I'm gonna tell. It's a story that hurts the soul, but it needs to come out like a cry stuck in your chest. And look, I'm not a man who cries, no. But this one was enough to break the toughest man. It all started at Zebadu's bar, where I was having my ice-cold beer, quiet in my corner as usual. I was a simple man, you know. Worked the land since I was 8 years old, raised on sweat and respect. My old lady, Donna Clementina, was my anchor, my safe harbor. A woman who raised 8 kids alone after my father kicked the bucket, and who, with great difficulty, managed to retire after a life of washing clothes for others and working the coffee harvest. Her pension was sacred, understand. It was the money for her blood pressure medicine, for the cooking gas, for the daily rice and beans. Me, being a good son, managed everything for her. I kept it in a guava paste tin hidden under a loose floorboard in the bedroom. Every month, I'd put a part of it in the tin and lived off my own sweat, which wasn't always much, but it was enough. I had my pride. I didn't mix with lowlifes. I didn't owe anything to anyone. My life was the fields, my old lady, and the weekend shot of cachaça, until one day she arrived. The young girl. She seemed like she'd fallen from the sky, in a red dress that looked like a cattle driver's flag. Her eyes were green, like a new pasture after the rain, and her smile... My God, her smile was sweeter than sugarcane juice in winter. Her name was Jade, a precious stone name, and to me she was an emerald in the mudbank of my life. She was from out of town, from the big city, said she'd come to visit some relatives and was tired of the hustle and bustle. Me, a country bumpkin with calloused hands and a foolish heart, I believed her. She started frequenting the bar, always saying good morning to me, starting conversations. Me, who'd never had any luck with women, was discombobulated. She called me Sir, with a soft voice that could soften the hardest earth. Sir, what a hard-working man, she'd say. Sir, you have a strength that's impressive. Me, an old donkey, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Things started heating up. She began meeting me at the gate, bringing a corn cake, saying I deserved good things. She said men in the city were shallow, that they didn't have my honesty, my grit. I felt like a king. My chest swelled with a pride that wasn't my own, it was borrowed from her eyes, and then came the declaration. One evening, with the sky all orange, she took my hand, that smooth hand that had never tilled the earth, and said, Sir, I'm in love with you. You are a real man. I want to stay by your side, build a simple life here, away from all that rush. My world turned upside down. I believed with all the strength of my naive heart. A man like me, winning over a woman like that. It was a miracle. I'd daydream, imagining us married, with 2 or 3 little kids, her at home and me in the fields, happy forever. That's when the first sign came. She started talking about a business. My love, she was already calling me love, I have an incredible business opportunity. A cousin of mine is opening a clothing store in the city and needs partners. Anyone who gets in now will be swimming in money in 6 months. We could invest, secure our future. My heart froze a little. Invest how, Jade? It's just 10,000 reais, my dear. In 6 months we get double. It's a sure thing. 10,000. The number echoed in my head like a gunshot. 10,000 reais. It was exactly the money stored in the guava paste tin, my old lady's money, the money for her medicine, for the gas, for her security. I told her I didn't have it, that I was a poor man. She pouted, her green eyes filled with water. I thought you believed in us, that you saw our future. It's just a loan, love. We'll pay it back quickly. I don't want a man with no vision. I want a partner. The phrase no vision hurt worse than a whiplash. Me, who was always called honest, was now a man with no vision. That foolish pride, that desire to prove I was worthy of her, began to drown out the voice of reason, which was screaming deep down. I spent a week anguished. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat right. I looked at my old lady, Donna Clementina, with her white hair and trembling hands, drinking her chamomile tea, suspecting nothing. She trusted me blindly. I was the son who never caused any trouble. And Jade's poison was stronger. She texted me every day, "Think of our little house, love. Think of our life. I'm counting the minutes for us to be together forever." One night, the madness won. I waited for the old lady to fall asleep, got up with my heart beating like a drum and went to the bedroom. I lifted the floorboard. The guava paste tin was there, heavy, full of a lifetime's hopes and sweat. I took the bill's 10,000 rays. It was a thick wad. My hands were sweating, shaking. I felt disgusted with myself in that moment, but the image of Jade's green eyes erased everything. The next day, I handed the money to her. She jumped up, hugged me, gave me a kiss that tasted like nothing, just a bitterness in my mouth. "You won't regret this, my love. It's our future. In a week, I'll be back with the good news, and we'll celebrate." She left, with that red dress disappearing in the dust of the road. I stood there, watching, with a void the size of the world in my chest. The week passed. 2, 3. Her phone didn't answer anymore. The excuse about the store began to crumble in my head. A cold began to spread through my soul, a cold that not even the midday sun could warm. Until one Saturday, needing to buy a bag of fertilizer, I took the old pickup truck and went to the next town over, a bigger one. And it was there, in the parking lot of a shopping mall, that I saw her. Her, Jade. She wasn't alone. She was all over some guy. A muscular guy, one of those who looks like he lives in the gym with tattooed arms, wearing a tank top. They were laughing, getting on a big, noisy motorcycle. She was carrying a new purse, wearing clothes I'd never seen before. And she looked at me. Our eyes met. For a second, her green eyes, which I thought were so beautiful, met mine, and there was no love, no affection, no gratitude. There was a flicker of surprise, followed by a disdain, a quick disdain, as if I were a bug in her path. She turned her face, kissed the muscular guy, and got on the bike, holding on to him, disappearing into the traffic. I stood there in the middle of the parking lot like a post. My world collapsed. The truth, cruel, ugly, and wretched, hit me with full force. The young girl didn't love me. The business opportunity was a lie. The money, my old lady's money, she had used it with that brute. She left me. Not only did she leave me, she used me, deceived me, made a fool of me. And worse, she left me with no money. The drive home was the longest journey of my life. Every jolt of the pickup truck was a stab in my conscience. How was I going to look at my old lady? How was I going to tell her? The money for her medicine, for food, all gone, spent on a gym rat and a woman of low character. I got home, and the old lady was on the porch, as always, doing some crochet. "You're back, my son. You look... What's wrong?" I couldn't take it. I broke down. I fell to my knees on the cement floor, buried my head in her lap and cried. I cried like I hadn't cried since I was a child. I sobbed, I moaned, I told her everything. The whole pathetic story, my stupidity, my vanity, the money. When I finished, I expected the shouting, the scolding, the disappointment, but Dona Clementina, my old lady, my saint, just put her hand on my head, that wrinkled hand full of love, and said in a calm voice that cut through my soul, "My son, money comes and goes. What hurts more is seeing your heart broken. She didn't deserve you. You are a good man, and a good man sometimes falls, but he gets up. We'll manage. We've always managed." Her kindness was my punishment. It was worse than if she had yelled at me, hit me. That forgiveness, at the moment of my greatest cowardice, broke me completely. From that day on, nothing was the same. The house, which was a place of peace, became a place of guilt. Every look from my old lady, even without judgment, reminded me of my failure. She started skipping buying medicines, saying she was feeling better. I saw her with pain in her joints and saying nothing, so as not to worry me. It was torture. I became a quieter, more bitter man. The fields, which were my refuge, became a battlefield against myself. I worked from sunup to sundown until I collapsed exhausted so I wouldn't think. The cachaça, which was a leisure, became a crutch. I drank to erase the image of Jade and the muscular guy, to numb the shame. The story spread, of course. In the village, I was the young girl's succor. The pitying looks from the neighbors hurt more than the mocking ones. I distanced myself from everyone. I became a ghost, a man carrying a corpse inside his chest. The worst was watching my old lady's health decline. Without the money, the food became poorer, the medicines became irregular. She never complained. She died a year and a half later, peacefully, in her sleep. In her last days, she held my hand and said, "My son, forgive yourself. This resentment doesn't lead you anywhere." But I couldn't. Forgive myself? How? I had stolen the peace of my mother's final years. I had traded her security for the fake smile of some woman. She's gone, and with her she took the little light that was left in me. The house is empty now, silent. The guava paste tin is still under the floorboard, empty. Sometimes I look at it and the guilt suffocates me. I took my old lady's money, my old lady's pension money, and gave it to the young girl who said she was in love. But she used the money with a muscular guy and left me. And she left me with no money. And I lost the old lady. It wasn't Jade who left me with nothing, no. It was my own foolishness, my desire to be someone I wasn't, to impress someone who was worthless. Now I'm just an old countryman, with calloused hands and a heart in tatters, sitting on the porch of an empty house, telling a sad little story to anyone who will listen. It's my punishment. And the lesson, my friend, is this. Never, ever trade the love of those who raised you with grit and sweat for the deceptive smile of those who don't know the value of an honest man, because in the end, the price is your soul. And the soul, once lost, you can't buy back for any amount of money.